What's going down, everyone? And today, Biomutant from THQ Nordic and the majority of partner companies that made this game have finally pushed forward with a brand new patch. 1.5 drops with a lot of fixes. And the last patch note, quite frankly, I was not happy with the performance of the way that it is, but they targeted a lot of the areas that were bugged out inside of this. Their team may not be as vast as a majority of a AAA, but they respond faster than a AAA with responding to the community, so that's impressive. I understand a lot of people were pissed because I said Cyberpunk 2077. I know that's a low blow nowadays, but seriously, who wants to buy something that's half a product? Let's be real here. Would you be happy if you were sold something and you couldn't use it? Probably not. But since this was a PlayStation 4 specific bug, let's go ahead and get to the patch notes, everyone. Hit that subscription button, get excited if you're brand new, and let's go ahead and roll into it. My name is Mac and you're at the MacGyver7 channel, and it's time for some gaming news. Coming across their Twitter, they basically highlight some of the things that we're going to be covering, and there's going to have a link down below that you can cut to if you want to go ahead and read along. For as far as the increased level caps, the cut downs, and the duplications, the add lock-ons for the melee, which is sweet, and the dynamic HUD. Tweaked some of the new game plus, and also a ton of other fixes that revolved around some mission specific things. For as far as the PlayStation, you didn't get many things. It just, you're entering and swapping that back button, you're going to run into some issues. PC was a little bit more with the field of views. Now you can actually get the right aspect ratios, and they've tuned your GPU. The level cap has increased by 50 to 100. Yes! That's pretty sweet. So that new game plus definitely got some more replayability. On top of that, for as far as the improved looting system, is they've cut down on duplicate items while supplying the variety of more improved items with higher stats as you can continue past the level 50. So they're definitely influencing you to play the game and play the game on New Game Plus to get a better experience. For as far as the superb loot variation, they also have a tier of relic of legendary weapons that start dropping after 50. On top of that situation, for as far as the update and the generations, to provide more variety and less duplications, as they say. Added the scrap action to the loot screen, which is sweet. Definitely enjoy that. They also added a setting for hiding and showing the head items, increased damage for the ladder tribe weapons to better fit the player in the level and gear. Remove the add-on slots from special gear that cannot be scrapped, lost, or crafted with. Issues continue to go down as they fix the unlimited material supply to be gained from crafting. The missile clouds to correctly fire every 4 shots during the rapid fire in the Super Washu. On top of that, for as far as the saw blade, having a lower spread and a higher velocity and correcting the pierce through the enemy's behavior. On top of that, the PQ Nanachuk, you can see that being hidden inside the inspect mode no longer. The issues were it was possible to equip another one-handed item when the PQ Nunchuck was already equipped. The issues also came down to a portion which the Valve add-on to the higher stats than intended. The reduced resistance inside of the Valve for the ancient pants to get other gear more visible. Fixed favorite consumables, quick menus being scrambled when there are no free slots available. Also fixed the autonomous health injection for as far as what we can see for the cooldown. The reset on top of that boost resulting inside of a health injection, only if refilled after resetting. On top of that, we can see some settings for the HUD. Now they can have a show or a dynamic, which will give you something that will fade during combats and have you more have immersiveness. Now, moving on past that, the quick menu toggle also has an accessibility portion. When enabled, the players isn't required to hold down the corresponding input opening menus. So, you can swap out some weapons instead of the quick menu. It's giving a lot more variety of what they're tuning the game to for the community and the way they're playing it. Very cool. Dialogue and the narrator also comes down to some changes, but not as big as it was last time. For as far as what we see on the menu, just a few moves left, making them count. The narrator is played with a chance after the first time. For as far as the voices, the overs that you can disable now inside of the dialogue go over to the narration. So a lot of this, they're trying to make it just time consumable. So they probably realized that the game could be possibly shorter, or you can have more of an immersive element and turn these things on. For as far as what we can see for the perform their actions inside of the animations in the slow motion, there's also the first narrator voice line after the character is presented in the child's village, not playing when gibberish was disabled. On top of that, the dev marker appearing in the Popsy dialogue text. As we move on to combat, there's a lot of ads. The optional lock-on for the targets in the melee combat, very much needed and appreciated. That was one of the things that I was like, man, this game would be a lot better if they had this. Sweet, and they targeted it. On top of that, the attack animation canceled to certain moves by using the dodge, the ability to smaller enemies to throw rocks at the player when mounted. On top of that, the chance for the players to be knocked off in their mounts when hit. They also added the fleeing behavior to the player's mount while in combat. You can also see that they tweaked the Porky Puff double boulder throw attack. Now it's possible to dodge in the second rock after being hit by the first one. Very cool. The issues continue to be fixed, as you can see where players were getting stuck inside of a grab animation, the invincibility perk damage inside of the multiplayer, the stimulus perk, and the damage for the multiplayer. On top of that, for as far as where the cases when airstrike would sometimes miss when using the Clone Fist. For as far as the jump attacks preventing range attacks while airstriking, the Rad Wisp being spawned when in the menu, Lupin, very well, something that I know a lot of PlayStation 4 people are going to be happy about, because Xbox and PC were clean of this bug. For as far as the cinematics being played when in combat, and they do follow up with it also having an issue down here where they fixed the layer not being completed after the loading of a save, which was an issue that I ran into with a compression block, which was just, well, I really wanted to play this game, and now I can. This is awesome. So on top of the situation, for as far as jumping attacks and preventing the range attacks while an airstrike, we have the escort characters when attempting to target already defeating enemies. So we're jumping down again, as we can see they cause the PU for the goons to only use the kick attacks when the PU nunchucks properly. So there's a lot of issues, it seems like, with that portions of the PICU, so we can move on past that. Hopefully now seeing some telekinesis not taking damage, but now utilizing it when the rock is being thrown, so you can really well craft a nice combat combo. On top of the fixed critical hits from the abilities not showing red damage numbers. Whoa, I guess that would be confusing, because I mean that would be definitely a critical if I saw that red. Moving on past that, the UI definitely gets a nice brush up, and then the added portion of the indicator for the completing areas in the objective maps. Added the pinned indicator to the items used in an outfit. Fixed the equipped indicator using the incorrect items after selling another item. Added the paused play time when in the system, the menu, or in the game is deactivated. You shouldn't be ticking away. On top of that situation, the added initial quest tab selection, which opens either the main or the side quest tabs based on the tracker and the quest. Now that's very convenient. They made it more digestible for what you can and can't do, for what's going to be dialogue and what's story with side missions. Very cool. On top of that, the overlapping for the UI inside of the changing tab directly inside of the fast travel, updated the transpont menu for as far as smoother transitions inside of the removed camera fade in between sections. The issues continue to be fixed as they press the menu map, would not close the menu map and bringing you back to the game. fixed the percentage stats not being capped at 100%, and the issues for as far as the XP bar not being hidden when at the max level. As we scroll down, we already saw the loop-a-loopin error being fixed for as far as the save, so we can see the MK Ton sometimes not spawning when talking to Gizmo. The fixed issues for as far as the bandit camp and the quest that sometimes would not be completed, the issues where the bandit camp's captain sometimes would not spawn, and the issues for Lotus Captain quest could be given to multiple times, which would prevent the constant point of having a quest copy from being completed. So it's basically summed up, it's a progression block that no longer is. They also pointed out a fix inside of the defeating Bampa bunker before starting the corresponding quest would prevent the players from completing the quest after saving and loading. So it seems like a saving and loading issue is definitely something that they've been having, and more than likely it might have been something that was very random throughout the systems, which is probably a hard thing to find. So kudos to the team that worked really hard on this. I appreciate that, and I'm sure a lot of the gaming community appreciates it as well. On top of that, for the stars, the issues were unique quests inside of the rewards did not get corrected inside of the material and quantity, resulting in inside of sometimes not having the correct stats. Puzzles also came down to a portion for the usable through the walls using the clone fist, and the issues where the players can change the allies' tribes after meeting either Gizmo, Gope, Wiz, Noko, although the first outpost hasn't been captured. So you just explored and really didn't claim stake to anything. For as far as the Batanam Nam being received players damage, now you can also see some fixes past that for as far as the eyes on the prize, which couldn't be completed after loading and saving. Again, that loading and saving issue has been ironed out, seems like, and you can see that the players could get stuck during an outpost capture using Clone Fist on the oil tanker. They fixed the portion of the players were able to interact with certain lumen shrines during combat, and the rival tribe weapons not claimable when utilizing the tribe's war shortcut. New Game Plus, and what they ironed out inside of there was the modifier, which sometimes increases the difficulties starting New Game Plus, and also the additional for each new subsequent NG Plus loop, so you can continue to go over and over again. Aurora score not being reset when starting in New Game Plus, and the plank resources being reset when starting a New Game Plus. The world for the respawn and the enemies to the areas increased the spawning rates of random encounters, moved wrecked ships to the correct location maps, so there was some stuff out of sync, which could have been a lot of errors that were out there that now are making the world run smoother. On top of that situation, the Bionucleus 6D area objects not being completed now is completable. On top of the situation for the removed lock into the doors blocking the accessible points for the areas and the Bang Shelter NH, and also for as far as the cars that could not be looted in the Bang Shelter 3G. On top of the Bang Shelter 2G, so the anti-radius suit can be revised and received now, as it's been fixed. On top of the crashes that came down to it before the miscellaneous come into play with this very well ironed out patch note, seems like they fixed a lot. Where as far as crashes, they go down the list as followed. When characters receive damage, when players is focused on the exit of the MK Ton, on top of the players inside of climbing up on an enemy and launching towards an enemy with the narrator commentary. On top of the miscellaneous portions that came down to it not being able to reset and Subverting the character's mutation changes, the issues causing the players to take hazardous damage when appearing to have maximum resistance, remove the bright spots from the post process that were always visible, fix the extreme labels on the extreme difficult saves. On top of that, for as far as where the Brog would choke on the Goblin and cause the players to become stuck. On top of that, for as far as the fungi not spun on the oil, they have some portions for attack sounds, amping the incorrect volumes, so it seems like an old school like freaking infomercial that goes hella loud. And then you have the situation where it attacks some sounds on the incorrect volumes. They also dial down the free fall, the duration needed inside of the mounts and the players triggering a hard landing, the jitters during the mounting animation, on top of where the MK Chan door at gizmos sometimes would be incorrectly closed. On top of that, for the reload animation that could trigger from the conflicts during the cinematics, and issues and an incorrect prompt was shown when using the Clonfist and the Moth's Nest. Before we get out of here, let's go ahead and test it out. I mean, maybe something they might have to iron out more, but the fact that they have it on the list as something that they've been working on, I'm very eager to see what's going on with this before we punch out of this. Ah, the moment of truth. Uh-oh. The game kind of like just... Oh! I think it worked! Oh shit, it worked! I am so excited.
Lupin says he's been looking.
Good job. THQ Nordic.
He wanted you to come here.
Tip my hat to you if I had one on. But on a real note, though, this game is completely viable at this point. The fact that they fixed this and they moved on to other things that have probably been specific for a lot of people. I'm gonna pause this eventually. I'd like to go back to this.
She was different.
But we're gonna be looking at. Well, it's whatever. I'll get to it eventually. She's obviously going to throw that portion of like A.I.O. It's a great cutscene. My bad for the spoiler, but the game seems playable nowadays. And for a lot of people that played it on PC and Xbox, you got the luxury of hitting that like speedway very fast. For some of the PlayStation community, this probably was a bug that got ironed out. That's awesome. If you're new to the network, you can always like, share, and subscribe for future content. This probably won't be as long as the next time, because I mean, damn, this is almost 20 minutes, and normally these are 10 minutes, if not shyer. I like to go about like 6 minutes on patch notes, but they put a lot of dedication and hard work into this, and I figured I would repay them since now I can actually play the game.
He says your mother and her disciples.
So cheers, THQ Nordic from the M7 Network. I look forward to see what you craft next.
The monster he would become.